All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into the fascinating and honestly kind of absurd reality behind modern luxury fashion. We usually think of high fashion as this realm of untouchable, groundbreaking innovation. But what happens when the absolute cutting edge of style looks, well, exactly like a dusty Polaroid from a 1990s family album? Today, we're taking a magnifying glass to Dior's highly publicized Winter 2026 collection to uncover a brilliant, if not completely audacious strategy that major fashion houses are relying on right now. It is a wild story about economics, human psychology, and a $4,000 beige coat.
So Dior's official marketing copy for this collection described it as a modern, sensitive, and unique expression of masculine elegance. Sounds incredibly lofty, right? But almost immediately, a hilarious viral reaction sparked online from Iranians who pointed out something glaringly obvious. They basically said, wait a second, that's exactly what my dad wore to work in 1995. And you know what? They definitely weren't wrong.
Section 1. Modern Masculinity or Dad Clothes. When Dior's current creative director, Jonathan Anderson, dropped this Winter 2026 campaign, the fashion press literally went wild. They put the acclaimed actor Josh O'Connor in this very specific ensemble: a beige overcoat, a simple, crisp white shirt, and tailored trousers. It was hailed as this fresh, modern take on masculinity. But to the trained eye, or honestly just anyone who was alive and commuting to an office 30 years ago, it looked incredibly familiar. It didn't really look like the future. It looked exactly like the past.
Which brilliantly sets up our core mystery for today's explainer. That's exactly what my dad wore to work in 1995. Why on earth are consumers today being charged thousands and thousands of dollars for an outfit that genuinely looks like a mid-90s middle management office commute? How did we get here? And more importantly, how are these brands actually getting away with it?
That brings us to Section 2, the archive mining machine. To really understand this, we've got to look at the sheer velocity of fashion production today. To put things into perspective, back in the year 2000, a major luxury brand typically released about 2 collections a year, just spring/summer and autumn/winter. That was it. Designers actually had time to think, to sketch, to innovate. But today, a luxury brand is expected to turn out 24 collections a year. That is a shocking 12x increase in output. Because of this totally relentless pace, major luxury houses are completely running out of original designs.
Think about what that math actually means on a practical level. It breaks down to one new collection every 15 days. Imagine trying to completely reinvent the wheel every 2 weeks. At this breakneck speed, true ground-up creation is entirely impossible. Human beings simply can't be that creatively prolific on a non-stop loop. So, because they can't invent something brand new every 2 weeks, these massive brands are forced to pivot to a completely different strategy.
So here's the crucial point. They aren't designing from scratch anymore. They are utilizing a playbook called archive mining, and it works in 4 very simple steps. Step 1, open the brand's historical vault. Step 2, pull out a pattern from, say, 1994. Step 3, make a tiny, almost imperceptible tweak, like changing the button material. And step 4, slap a massive 300% markup on the price tag and ship it out the door. Basically, they're recycling old patterns, tweaking them just a tiny bit, and treating them like brand new inventions.
If we apply this exact formula back to our Dior campaign, the new Winter 2026 pieces aren't actually new at all. They're literally pulled straight from the 1980s and 90s. That beige overcoat on Josh O'Connor, it is a direct, undisputed reference to a Dior menswear line from 1993. And the simple white shirt underneath, copied directly from their 1987 archives. They simply opened the vault, dusted off the old blueprints, and hit print.
But here is where the reality check hits your wallet. Despite the design already existing and despite the creative heavy lifting having been done 3 decades ago, this recycled 2026 overcoat will cost you a staggering $4,200. You'd probably think that recycling a design would make it cheaper to develop, right? Well, that savings is absolutely not being passed down to the consumer.
Let's move on to Section 3, the psychology of nostalgia inflation.
So how do they get away with this? It's driven by a psychological phenomenon called nostalgia inflation. It's essentially what happens when seeing a highly familiar design completely short-circuits your brain's logic center. When you see something that evokes the past, your brain stops calculating cost, and instead, it starts calculating comfort. It calculates safety. You aren't really paying for fabric or thread anymore. You're paying luxury prices to feel connected to something you subconsciously think was better or simpler. even if that something was literally just a passing memory of your dad's closet.
The brand is essentially selling you a masterfully crafted illusion. They wrap this 30-year-old design in absolutely gorgeous photography. They put a famous actor in it, shine a giant spotlight on it, and tell you it's the absolute peak of modern elegance. They're convincing you that a recycled aesthetic is a brand new innovation. In the end, you are paying for the story that this is new rather than the reality that it's just a rerun.
Section 4. Selling memories, not fashion.
Think of this as the ultimate receipt for the entire fashion industry right now. Let's go line by line. The pattern? It already existed. It was paid for decades ago. Research and development? $0. Manufacturing? Actually, it likely costs the same or even less to produce now than it did in 1994 because so much manufacturing has moved to regions with cheaper labor. The only place they are truly spending big money is marketing. Millions of dollars pumped into ad campaigns just to call these recycled clothes heritage pieces. And the result of all that zero-cost development? A retail price of $4,200. The profit margins are just absolutely astronomical.
Now, the fine print of this entire business model relies on a very specific demographic reality. It relies entirely on the fact that the average consumer under 30 has never seen the original 1993 coat. This creates a hilarious but very real generational divide in perception. To a 24-year-old fashion enthusiast walking around New York City, this 1994 Dior coat looks fresh, exciting, and revolutionary. But to a 50-year-old sitting in Tehran who actually lived through that era, it just looks like an average Thursday at the office. The target audience simply lacks the historical context to know they're buying a rerun.
Ultimately, what you should take away from this explainer is a fundamental shift in how you view modern luxury. When you buy into these archive-mined collections, you aren't really buying into an original piece of artistry. Dior didn't sell you fashion. They sold you an engineered memory. And incredibly, they sold you a memory that isn't even yours. They are monetizing nostalgia at a premium price point.
So I want to leave you with this provocative thought to consider the next time you go shopping for the absolute latest trends. Go ahead and open your closet today. Take a real hard look at your wardrobe. How many of your expensive, supposedly new pieces look exactly like something plucked straight out of 1995? You might be surprised to find just how much of your personal style is actually just an archive mind.
Thank you so much for joining me to unpack the true cost of nostalgia. Be sure to subscribe and join us for our next explainer, where we'll continue peeling back the layers of the luxury industry. Next time, we are going to break down the shocking true cost behind your favorite luxury sunglasses and expose exactly why those $800 shades only cost $11 to manufacture. You definitely won't want to miss it. See you then.